with our chant on the 5 mindfulness trainings, and that's on page 12. Reverence for life, aware that the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I am committed to cultivating the insight of interbeing and compassion and learning ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I am determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to support any act of killing in the world in my thinking or in my way of life. Seeing that harmful actions arise from anger, fear, greed, and intolerance, which in turn come from dualistic and discriminative thinking, I will cultivate openness, non-discrimination, and non-attachment to views in order to transform violence, fanaticism, and dogmatism in myself and in the world. True happiness, aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I am committed to practicing generosity in my thinking, speaking, and acting. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others, and I will share my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in need. I will practice looking deeply to see that happiness and suffering of others are not separate from my own happiness and suffering, that true happiness is not possible without understanding and compassion, and that running after wealth, fame, power, and sensual pleasures can bring much suffering and despair. I am aware that happiness depends on my mental attitude and not on external conditions, and that I can live happily in the present moment simply by remembering that I already have more than enough conditions to be happy. I am committed to practicing right livelihood so that I can help reduce the suffering of living beings on Earth and stop contributing to climate change. True love, aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I am committed to cultivating responsibility and learning ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society, knowing that sexual desire is not love and that sexual activity motivated by craving always harms myself as well as others. I am determined not to engage relations without true love and a deep, long-term commitment made known to my family and friends. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to protect couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Seeing that body and mind are one, I am committed to learning appropriate ways to take care of my sexual energy and cultivating loving kindness, compassion, joy, and inclusiveness, which are the 4 basic elements of true love, for my greater happiness and the greater happiness of others. Practicing true love, we know that we will continue beautifully into the future. Loving speech and deep listening, aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others. I am committed to cultivating loving speech and compassionate listening in order to relieve suffering and to promote reconciliation and peace in myself and among other people, ethnic and religious groups, and nations. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am committed to speaking truthfully, using words that inspire confidence, joy, and hope. When anger is manifesting in me, I am determined not to speak. I will practice mindful breathing and walking in order to recognize and to look deeply into my anger. I know that the roots of anger can be found in my wrong perceptions and lack of understanding of the suffering in myself and in the other person. I will speak and listen in a way that can help me and the other person to transform suffering and see the way out of difficult situations. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain, and not to utter words that can cause division or discord. I will practice right diligence to nourish my capacity for understanding, love, joy, and inclusiveness, and gradually transform the anger, violence, and fear that lie deep in my consciousness. Nourishment and healing. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I am committed to cultivating good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I will practice looking deeply into how I consume the four kinds of nutriments, namely edible foods, sense impressions, volition, and consciousness. I am determined not to gamble or to use alcohol, drugs, or any other products which contain toxins, such as certain websites, electronic games, TV programs, films, magazines, books, and conversations. I will practice coming back to the present moment to be in touch with the refreshing, healing, and nourishing elements in me and around me, not letting regrets and sorrow drag me back into the past or letting anxieties, fear, or craving pull me out of the present moment. I am determined not to try to cover up loneliness, anxiety, or other suffering by losing myself in consumption. I will contemplate interbeing and consume in a way that preserves peace, joy, and well-being in my body and consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family, my society, and the earth. We bow. Thank you. We will return to noble silence until service begins.
At this time, I'd like to invite our incense lighters forward. And if you would like to join with me in reciting our incense lighting gatha this morning, it can be found on page 2 of our chant books. Together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding, slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. right, good morning. I love listening to that bell. It's such a great call to awakenness. We got a full house this morning. This is wonderful. So my name is Nasanskara. I'm a Dharma teacher intern here at the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple. A couple of courtesy announcements before we begin our service. There are some restrooms through those curtains right there on the other side. Also through this little doorway and down the stairs. Another restroom, a water fountain, a kitchen, a library, and some quiet space down there. So if anybody's in need of any of those things, there are some toys for kids. There are some just some space to lay out, go down there and relax. And at any time, you're welcome to do so. If you do need to get up during service, we would ask that you walk around the back and not here in front in between the seated people and the dais. And at this time, if we'd like to all stand and give each other some silent bows for greeting this morning. All right, and if we remain standing, we can turn to page 3 of our chant book. Go along with our morning chant. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that my three jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. If we could turn over the page to page 4, we'll chant the Heart Sutra.
passion, from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas, and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering. No cease from suffering. No path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, aragate, arasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, aragate, arasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, aragate, arasangate, bodhisattva. Prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra.
right. Good morning once again. As I had said, my name is Nasanskara. I'm a teacher intern here at the temple. And I'd like to just jump right in, I think, to my talk by saying, by a show of hands, how many of us think that we can discern or that we know what is the truth when we hear it? Right. Okay. We got a lot of shy people too. Some people, including myself. I'm like, I think I'm a pretty good judge of the truth. Maybe not. I don't know. It's getting trickier and trickier these days to sort of figure out what that is. We teach our children the importance of truth and the potential consequences of not telling the truth with stories like The Boy Who Cried Wolf and George Washington and the Cherry Tree, of course. These are some of the first lessons that I recall of the truth from when I was a child. Innately, we place a high value on truth. Some part of our brain, our animal brain, little almond-sized piece right down in the center, the amygdala likely, knows that and understands that there is danger in deception, in not understanding what's going on exactly and how things are unfolding. And it bothers us. So we want to understand what the truth is. The Buddha's first teaching is of truth, the Four Noble Truths. Why are they called noble truths? Well, I've heard a thing or two about them. I've heard an answer as to why they're called noble truths. But as I do before my talk, oftentimes I go to maybe, the scripture, I go to the books, maybe go to Google, and I say, why are they called Four Noble Truths? And would you believe when I Googled this, I pulled up a list of answers, and I read through the first 4 or 5 answers, and every single one of them was different. So which one is the truth? My talk today is on the 4th precept, commonly recited as to protect and respect the truth, or to abstain from false speech. So to protect and respect the truth. Have you all turned on Fox News lately? All right. I only watch CNN, right? Because they got the truth on that channel. All right. Yes. You all see the irony. My truth, the way that I see it. To refrain from false or harmful speech. When my elderly aunt in her little farmhouse in Nebraska shares something on social media about the election being rigged, or the high crime rates attributed to undocumented workers because they're eating their pets, She's failing to protect and respect the truth, yes? And because she doesn't understand privacy settings on social media, she invariably gets a slew of folks who are ready to set her straight, okay? And it gets ugly. My aunt doesn't understand what an autocracy is. When people are screaming it at her on Facebook or whatever, in their profanity-soaked tirades. She can't set her privacy settings on Facebook, right? She thinks the third world has descended on Springfield, Ohio. They're over there eating their pets. She doesn't get it. So who's violating the fourth precept here, though? Is it my aunt for failing to protect and respect the truth? Or is it the good people on the other side for failing to abstain from harmful speech when they hurl obscenities at her? in preparation for my talk, once again, I read through some of the scripture, trying to search for references to truth in Buddhism and in the words that the Buddha says. And in the Ataka Vaga, in the Sutta Nipata, a bunch of words that I have trouble pronouncing, there is something that I said, aha, this relates right to our present day, and this is something that I can grab onto. There's a verse where there's a seeker who goes to the Buddha. They're unnamed. It just says, the seeker or the person that asks the questions. And the question they ask is, what some say is true, that's how it is. Others say is falsehood or a lie. Thus quarreling, they dispute. Why can't contemplatives say one thing and the same? And I was like, whoa, that sounds like something that I can relate to in this day and age. And the Buddhist answers, the truth is one. There is no second about which a person who knows it would argue with one who also knows it. Contemplatives promote their various idiosyncratic truths. That's why they don't say one and the same thing. So the Buddha begins here by asserting that ultimate truth is singular. The truth is one, he says. There's only one ultimate reality. A person who truly knows this truth has no need to dispute it with another person who truly knows it, because their realizations are the same. When both parties directly see the nature of things, there's no room for argument. They're united in their understanding. But the Buddha suggests most people aren't speaking from direct realization. They're promoting what they think is true, based on their views, their various traditions, their preferences. These are idiosyncratic truths, interpretations of truth that arise from our causes and conditions, right? If you all had maybe heard my last talk on deep listening, it's what everything that goes in to make my view and my perception that I lay down on top of what is reality, and I call it reality. This is my truth. But really it's something that I'm projecting outward. So this isn't the ultimate truth. It's self-involved, right? Because I'm at the center of it. So what is the truth then? Because there's a limit to our intellect and to the knowledge we can gain or acquire, and to our perception, many disputes stem from holding tight to the opinions that we form from this limited knowledge, right? The Shin Ming says, if you wish to know the truth, hold to no opinions for or against anything. To set up what you like against what you dislike is the disease of the mind. So what the Buddha is saying, that echoed in the Shin Ming, is to let go of fixed opinions. As Kunga said in his talk a week or two ago, we're going to hold the truth with an open hand. When I say that, I mean our perception of the truth. Okay, what is the reality we're living in? We think we have an understanding of it, and that's fine. But it's the grasping of this understanding that's going to cause us trouble. So we hold the truth with an open hand. The Buddha taught that the nature of direct realization. When the truth is known through direct experience, not just taught or talked about, and there's no need to defend it or debate about it. So, thinking about our direct experience, let's go back to the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering, the first noble truth, that life inherently involves suffering, right? Old age, sickness, decay, and death, for example. The truth number 2 of the cause of suffering, which is our craving, desire, and attachment, or not wanting, essentially, the change, the impermanence, the old age, the sickness, decay, and death. The truth of the cessation of our suffering, which is nirvana. Okay. Their second album. Like the first one was kind of suffering. The truth of the cessation of suffering, which is achieved by the extinguishing of the cause of suffering. Again, our attachment, our craving, our desire, our not wanting things to be the way they are, not accepting of the change. And the truth of the path of the cessation of suffering, the path that leads out of suffering, or the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path, real quick, for those not familiar, right? Right view or skillful, right or skillful. I like the word skillful view. Skillful thought or intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. All 4 of these truths are teachings that through practice and effort, we can create a direct realization of. So coming back to the 4th precept, if we wish to speak the truth, to have the realization of truth in our words, we need to, 1, try to extract self from the center of it, from the center of our words, our view or perception of what we're going to say. Hold the truth or our opinions of the truth with an open hand. Harbor an awareness that what you think is true might not be. Okay? Just the awareness of it. It's okay. What can be at the center of our speech is our desire for the cessation of suffering. This is what we want to have there for ourselves and for others. And how do we do that? Hold desire for the cessation of suffering at the center of our speech is by practicing the steps that lead to the cessation of suffering, right? Skillful speech, of course, what we're talking about, but also skillful view, intention, action, effort, mindfulness, all of the Noble Eightfold Path. Because again, they're not singular. They're like a recipe. It's like a cake we're baking for the cessation of suffering for all beings. Okay? We can't just have one ingredient and not the others. I really enjoyed Thich Nhat Hanh's interpretation of the precepts. So, even though we chanted it this morning, some may have missed it. I would like if we could all turn to page 13 and read together, loving speech and deep listening. This is Thich Nhat Hanh's interpretation of the 4th precept, to abstain from false or harmful speech. Okay, he draws it out a little bit, and I like it very much. So, aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I am committed to cultivating loving speech and compassionate listening in order to relieve suffering and to promote reconciliation and peace in myself and among other people, ethnic and religious groups and nations. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am committed to speaking truthfully, using words that inspire confidence, joy, and hope. When anger is manifesting in me, I am determined not to speak. I will practice mindful breathing and walking in order to recognize and to look deeply into my anger. I know that the roots of anger can be found in my wrong perceptions and lack of understanding of the suffering in myself and in the other person. I will speak and listen in a way that can help me and the other person to transform suffering and see the way out of difficult situations. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain, and not to utter words that can cause division or discord. I will practice right diligence to nourish my capacity for understanding, love, joy, and inclusiveness, and gradually transform the anger, violence, and fear that lie deep in my consciousness. I had a sentence that caught me here. I know that the roots of anger can be found in my wrong perceptions and lack of understanding of the suffering in myself and the other person. So this is essentially what we're talking about here. When we say to protect and respect the truth, I would just say be careful, what our perception is, as Thich Nhat Hanh says, of what the truth is. Because the roots of anger are found in our wrong perceptions. Another thing that that caught me as I was writing this for this talk is that Thich Nhat Hanh, in his interpretation, doesn't really harp on the truth so much. He mentions listening 3 times in here. He mentions love and compassion 3 times. He mentions anger 4 separate times in this interpretation. He mentions the other person, which I thought was interesting. It's about that inner being, right? Them and us. 4 separate times. He mentions mindfulness and understanding 4 separate times. And he talks about suffering in this interpretation 5 times. He only mentions the truth once. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am committed to speaking truthfully, using words that inspire confidence, joy, and hope. So even in his usage of the truth, he wraps it in these other words, and then an understanding that the truth has the power to create happiness or suffering. And that words can inspire confidence, joy, and hope. We're going to prepare ourselves for meditation. I would just leave one irony as a thought with you all, as a side thought, which is that story about George Washington and the cherry tree. No, it's not true. All right. So what is the truth exactly? All right. Prepare ourselves for meditation. Get yourself in a nice, comfortable seating arrangement. You can have sit cross-legged. You can sit on a chair. If you're sitting on a chair, maybe feet flat on the floor. If you're going to sit on a cushion, you can sit cross-legged or on your knees, of course, kneeling, whatever is comfortable. Have your hands in a relaxed position in your lap or on your knees. You can have your eyes open or closed. If you're going to have them open, you can have a gentle gaze down at the floor in front of you or at the back of the person in front of you. If you have thoughts that come into your head, that's okay. Our goal in meditation is not to extinguish thought, right? The brain is an organ, it secretes thoughts. But it's, again, not to attach to those thoughts. So we're just going to observe them. You can label them. You can let them go. There's a thought. There's a thought. And in doing so, we come to an understanding, a realization of a truth, as it were, that these thoughts are not us. I am not my thoughts. I am not my anger, my feelings, my this or that. And that just upon labeling them and realizing there's a thought, I can let it go in the very next breath. Okay. All right. At this time, we're going to do a practice that we do here at the temple on Sundays, which is we're going to share in each other's joys and concerns. So Eric has a microphone. If you'd like to share joys or concerns that you've had from the week or month, you can raise your hand and we'll come around with the microphone and we would love to share them with you. Joy, concerns. I will start and then I'll pass the mic to Ege. As I said last week, my son is in Japan with his roommates right now. He just flew there just because. No agenda, no anything. I said, why Japan? It seemed like a cool place to go, right? So they just went there to travel around. They landed in Tokyo. I think today is day 5 or 6, something like this. So, and they traveled, I know, yesterday or today or in the night as we slept, which is daytime in Tokyo, to another city. I don't know where they went, but they left Tokyo. So anyway, sharing in this, they have an app. My son, he has an app on his phone called Find Penguins. It's an amazing app that he can post pictures and share. And so every day he has a little journal or blog, and there's a map and footprints of where they traveled to and pictures of everything they saw. And it's an amazing thing. So that's my joy every day, is to be able to see that and read it and see what they're up to.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ege Sue. I first want to start with my concerns, or the areas where my mind has moved that hasn't been beneficial. And those concerns stem in seeing others suffering their financial hardships, in suffering and not being able to potentially eat. Seeing others frustrated or not being able to see clearly where their reality comes from being caught by selfishness or putting themselves first. And that goes to say that if I see it in my world, then it must be inside of me too. So with that, where can I transform that? And so my joys come in celebrating holidays with family. Getting to see children run around and enjoy trick-or-treating. My joys come in seeing communities come together to support their own communities. My joy also comes in seeing others, encouraging others to meditate. Like, hey, get to your cushion. It's a really important thing for you to do, not just for yourself, but for all the other people around you. And so I think I'll just leave you with those joys and concerns today. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shane, or you can call me Jueshin Su. Either one works. It's been like 4 months since I've been here. It's been some time. So it's a real joy to be here. And to see Yosei. And so everybody, I can't just call out everybody, but there's so many people that it's so great to see, because it's been forever. Some concerns I've been dealing with is 4 months ago, I got broken up with. I had to move out of my apartment. I almost got fired for attendance. It was not so great, but lately things have been really good. I've been working a lot. I put 127 hours in the last 2 weeks, which is crazy. But kind of getting my mind off things. I'm living with my sister now, and things are better at work. So everything is looking up, and I'm here, and it just feels really good to be back. It feels like I came back home, and I don't know why I didn't it's like one of those things where it's like you really just don't want to see anybody, and it's like it's better to reach out. But at that time, I wasn't able to. I have still been coming to the recovery meetings, and addiction has been a struggle. But today I'm sober, and I feel good about that. And yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Angel Shanti Baba. I just want to say thank you for your talk today and just acknowledge for me, this practice in my year of training at the temple was incredibly transformative. It literally transformed my relationship with my mom because I had to shut up and listen for a year because I realized that nothing that wanted to come out of my mouth was really helpful. And that was really humbling, but like so beautiful. And now we can have loving conversations that are so much more open. So really grateful for that and how that continues to work. And also I attended a cacao and breathwork ceremony yesterday with the intention of honoring our ancestors. And I'm just really grateful for the unique gift it is in our culture to be in multiple communities who know how to be quiet. We don't have ritual or quiet anymore. And I just feel so grateful to be for this space. Like we can be quiet together with intention and to be in, spaces that can just really hold that and not feel awkward, just honor what's in the quieter spaces. So just feeling really grateful for those things. Thank you.
Good morning, Sangha. Atano Nato here. I have a joy to share. So my coworker, whose daughter has been in the hospital for probably 2 months now, she's been taking time off of the ventilator, breathing on her own. She was in a really bad way. And last week, she was able to speak a few words with help of a voice box. So she's making progress. She does have some steps backward periodically, but she's making progress. And my coworker and her family are hopeful that in time, possibly a full recovery. But it's exciting to see the progress. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura. This is only my second time. And speaking of, I guess, joy and suffering, I had my cat for 19 years and I had to put her down Thursday so she wouldn't be suffering. But, I'm so grateful that I had her for those full 19 years and she had a good life. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all for sharing those with us. And we're going to take a moment just to hold space for all those joys and concerns. Some temple-related announcements to end our service. All of the things that I'm going to announce can always be found on our website. Or by signing up to the newsletter. If anybody hasn't already signed up, go to the website, sign up for the newsletter. It comes to your email inbox. It's a valuable tool. We have an online meditation group that meets Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45 p.m. You can join via Zoom. The group is via Zoom, as it is in the title, online meditation group, not here at the temple. For information on that, you can contact Venerable Kunga or see the newsletter, of course. Thursday Dharma discussion group. Thursdays meets here in the temple, downstairs in the basement from 9:30 to 11 a.m. I just worked out with my boss that I'm going to be at lunch for an hour and a half on Thursday instead of 1 hour, and it's just the best part of my week. So right now the group is reading Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet by Thich Nhat Hanh. We read it in the group, a chapter, half a chapter, a few paragraphs, and then we have a great discussion about what we've read. So you don't need to read ahead if you want to join that. For more information, you can see Reverend Ryan Duffield. Or, of course, you can see the newsletter. I'm happy to announce that on November 9th, Sunday, we will have a teaching monk ordination, also for Reverend Ryan Duffield, who is going to receive his teaching monk ordination. That's going to be again on Sunday, November 9th. We're going to have a potluck on that day, so everybody save up your recipes for a good dish to bring. Downstairs in the temple community room is going to be the potluck. So, Buddhist Mutual Aid Sangha meets monthly. This month it'll be Sunday, November 9th from 11:30 to 12:30. They just meet downstairs after temple. It's a good group of folks to be involved with if you'd like to know how you can act within your community to bring about change, to bring about cessation of suffering in yourself and others, right? It's just how can we get together and help one another in our community? That's what that group is about. The Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board meeting is going to be Sunday, November 16th from 11:30 to 1 in the Temple Community Room downstairs. All Sangha members are invited to observe the board meeting. So, our preceptor ordination, our group of preceptors who've been for a couple of months and through November will be the third month, hard at work with journaling, memorizations, having their own realizations through experience of the Dharma. They're going to have a preceptor ordination and potluck. This is going to be a great month for potlucks. Sunday, just bring some food every Sunday, okay? Sunday, November 30th, that's going to be, join us downstairs again in the community room. So, and our Bodhisattva trainings. Well, the announcement, I'm sorry to pause, is that for our Bodhisattva class, which is going to be upcoming in January. So this is good to get the word out there. Our Bodhisattva class training is the first Saturday of each month, and it's going to begin January 3rd and go through August 2nd. That's approximately 8 months. And this is a really in-depth class if you'd like to deepen your practice. That class on Saturday, the first Saturday of each month, starts at 7:45 and goes to noon. And we have our Buddhist-based recovery meetings Mondays at 6:30 for meditation and 7 p.m. here in the temple. Wednesdays, 6:30 at the Alano Club on College Ave. Fridays, 10 o'clock meditation, 10:30 and here in the temple, or you can join on Zoom. And you can contact, and it's good to see, Reverend Juashin Su for further information, or you can see the newsletter. Again, all of those details are able to be found at our website, ngr.org. All right, so if we can, yeah, oh, of course, further announcements. I always forget any further announcements. Thank you for the reminder.
2 announcements. First one is if you want to hear some more Dharma today at 2 p.m., there is a Dharma talk being given at Fountain Street Church. And the second announcement is, and I know this is a little while out, but I know I won't be back in Temple. November is like the ridiculous time of year for my work. I'm an Irish dancing teacher, and our regional championships take place over Thanksgiving weekend. So basically all of November is spent in the studio with my dance students, helping them prepare. So that's generally why I'm not here as much in the fall. But I wanted to get this announcement out because I know I may not be around too much after that, because then there's Christmas shows and all of that. And who doesn't like seeing Irish dancing for Christmas shows? But we will be having a Sojong ceremony on Saturday, December 27th. So if you'll be in town and you like setting things on fire, please join us. It's a fire puja. Sojong is a time that we use at the end of the year. Well, really, in the Tibetan practice, we do it about twice a month, every new moon and every full moon. And you have the opportunity to reflect on the things that aren't working for you, like those habits that you keep engaging with that keep wreaking havoc in your life, acknowledging them and then making a commitment to like putting them away, putting them to the side, and then also rejoice in the things that are good in your life to show your mind that goodness is possible. So that's Saturday, December 27th, if you'd like to join on that. And I believe we have one more announcement. A Donna announcement given only by Ellen.
I know. That's what I always say. My name is Ellen. The word Dana in our practice means generosity, and there's like a bazillion different ways to practice it every single day. For example, right here in the temple, the potluck was the frenzy of potlucks coming up recently. A lot of hands make not so much work. So we can always use help there. Setting up, tearing down, washing those dang dishes and all that stuff. We're also the people who volunteer their time. That's what keeps this boat afloat. And we're pretty organized now because of Jeremy and Ashton. I never remember the Dharma names. I have a tough time with that. But we're very organized. It's easy to get into the schedule, say what you're interested in helping with, your availability. And we do have a cool name, so you would want to do this anyway. I'm lobbying for jackets that say Dharma Disciple on the front, and there's a rumor of a secret handshake. So come on, really, it's a very easy thing. We had one of our volunteers woke up this morning not feeling well. He went right into is it called an app or whatever it's called, and said, I can't make it. Could someone else help with what I was assigned to do today? Boom, right away, somebody stepped up. So that's how easy it is. No one here at the temple receives a paycheck. Absolutely everything that happens here is because someone has helped out either financially or with their time. So we appreciate it more than you could ever know. Speaking of financial support, we have Dharma boxes on each end of the Dharma hall. Take a check or cash. And there's also a QR code on the front of each box. Will take you directly to PayPal. You can set up just a one-time donation or a weekly, monthly, whatever. If you go to our website, zengr.org, there's a donate button that also takes you to PayPal. If you're watching at home today on YouTube, there's also a drop-down menu. Again, takes you directly to the donate button. So whenever you can, if you can, we appreciate everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Last thing is that we are going to, after service today, have a preceptor class in the basement. So there will not be social hour downstairs. You guys could remain up here if you'd like to catch up with one another. We're going to be downstairs with the preceptors. So, and with that, I think we will stand to say our closing gattas. I should say they can be found on page 6. For all
Unskillful actions that are committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain.
And if we can finish with one final bow, let's put the room in half to the side. We'll turn to this half, this side, turn to this half, give each other a closing bow. Thank you all very much.
You could please remember to arrange